Okay, for Black History Month, today we're spotlighting mentorship. Think about that, how important it can be in helping the next generation, young Black women, grow into the confident leaders in their work, in their communities, in their families. Right now, the percentage of women of color in leadership positions in companies is frustratingly low. In 2020, they held only 12% of managerial positions, 9% of senior manager roles. For Black women, these percentages were even lower. Jamila Trimuel has been working to change that. Boy, has she. For more than a decade, she's been really dedicated to her nonprofit, Ladies of Virtue. It's been transforming young women's lives, helping them grow into successful and confident leaders. We knew we had to talk to this woman. As I said, a force of nature. She joins me now. Jamila, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me this morning.
So let's go back 10 years. What inspired you to say, I'm going to start this program and I want to get women on this track? What led to it?
You know, growing up, I grew up on the south side of Chicago, and my dad used to always say, you are an African woman and you can do anything you put your mind to. And, you know, even as a little girl, I took that to heart. And quite frankly, even though my parents divorced when I was 5, the one thing that remained consistent was that they poured into my life. They believed in me. They pushed me to go to college, pushed me to accomplish any dreams that I may have for my life. But I noticed, you know, when I became a junior, senior year in high school, that I took my parents for granted, quite frankly. I had friends growing up in the same neighborhoods who were not pushed, who were not encouraged in that way. And I saw after I graduated from high school how their lives then took a downward turn. And so I decided, you know, going into college, that I would become a mentor, because I noticed how positive role models can literally change the trajectory of your life, whether that's parents, teachers, mentors. You know, and that's why I became a mentor, which set the stage, the tone for me to then found Ladies of Virtue several years later.
You know, and the thing is, it really is about shifting a person's mindset, right? Helping these young women see themselves in a slightly different light than they may have.
Absolutely. And, you know, one saying, I love the quote, you can only be it if you see it.
Yes.
And
yes.
This is so true, because if you have mentors that are, that's if maybe you're a Black girl, you have a mentor that is a physician or an engineer, and you may not have ever seen that before. And now you have that exposure that would make you spark something inside of you to make you want to become that or even more. So, you know, it's all about mentorship. It's all about exposure. And, you know, it's so important to pour into the lives of our girls.
Well, and I suppose this is really so key into sort of getting young Black girls into that pipeline, right? Because the stream's going. And if our girls don't know that they get to be part of the stream on the leadership track and don't have the introduction, the mentor they can look up to for some guidance, they're being left to the side.
Absolutely. And I can even give you an example. One of our first, we had 6 girls. Ladies of Virtue started with only 6 girls, and now we serve over 250 girls annually. But Deidre will be a perfect example. She was one of our 6 girls. We helped her go into college. She graduated from the University of Missouri. But by the time she was looking to graduate from college, she didn't know quite what she would do next. She was thinking about grad school, but didn't get accepted into any grad schools. And she reached out to one of her mentors in Ladies of Virtue, Faith, who at that time was getting a PhD at Northwestern University. And Faith allowed Deidre to come to her lab. She volunteered in her lab for a number of years. She helped Deidre really identify what programs would be best suited for her and her career. And because of that exposure, Deidre was not even looking into PhD programs. She was looking into master's programs, which is great in and of itself, but was not even thinking about PhD programs until Faith came and exposed her into her world. And now, do you know Deidre is getting her PhD program at Ball State University, focusing on school psychology. But that's a perfect example of, has she not been exposed to a PhD program, had Faith not welcomed her into her lab and really shared with her the tools and the skill sets that she needed, Deidre says to this day that she credits Ladies of Virtue for exposing her, which is why she's in that PhD program right now.
Big ups to her mentor. You're in Chicago, but we're telling this story here in the Southland because there's no reason that mentorship can't, and there are groups that are doing that already, but maybe this will inspire more people to think about how they can be a mentor in a young Black woman's life. It seems like a big ask, but it isn't. You don't realize how much of a difference you can make.
Absolutely. We have mentors where they're coming in for the day just to talk about their specific career. And then we have longer term mentors. We call them like life on life mentoring, right? Where our girls or those mentors are speaking to them every single week, where they're going to the parent teacher nights, where they're going to the basketball games or the prom send-offs, however, that mentee may feel. But mentorship is so important because our girls need to have someone in their life that's willing to push them, that's willing to expose them into a world that they've never had before.
And lastly, you talk about the importance of making sure foundations are giving equitably to Black and brown girls and putting that money into supporting them as well, because they're often overlooked.
Absolutely, and I'm glad you brought that up because research shows that even when there's similar nonprofits, when it's led and founded by a Black woman, we receive less funding. And so I'm glad that you're calling that out, especially during this Black History Month, because one, funders need to be aware that we need to distribute those funds equitably, but also for supporters. When you see a Black woman that's leading a nonprofit, support them financially, support them with your time, because we're not receiving the same funding as like-minded organizations. So we need your support every step of the way.
It's one of the reasons why we wanted to tell you about Ladies of Virtue again. Ladies of Virtue, Los Angeles chapter, Jamila. I'm sure you'd be available for conversations just like that. We just going to plant that seed. We're going to leave that right there and let somebody pick that up. By the way, if you want to learn more about the terrific work they've been doing a decade in Ladies of Virtue, we're going to link to her website on ours, foxla.com/links. Jamila, I described you as a force of nature, and you really are. You are impactful. Thank you for the work you're doing to let these women know that there is a bright future ahead of them.
Oh, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. You take care of yourself. And Maria, you saw me point over to you because I hear you say that, and it's so true. If you can see it, you can be it.
Yeah, yeah. That's so great what they're doing, exposing them to all that. I wish I had even more of that when I was a kid. But I was thankful for growing up in Hawaii because I did see women in broadcast news, and that really impacted my life.
Sure it does.
And one of the reasons why I'm here.